Barger. The host saying he's been promised there will be no violence.
Hundreds of security guards will be on site with security checks at the gate, but the sheriff says that's not enough, putting hundreds of deputies on standby, spending close to $500,000 preparing for tomorrow's event.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here at 10 o'clock. I'm Adrienne Moore.
And I'm Steve Large. CBS 13's Laura Hafley is in Stockton with the fears and frustration surrounding this controversial Hells Angels memorial service.
The parking lot of the 99 Speedway soon to be packed with thousands of Hells Angels members. An event the owner here says has been on the books for weeks. The sheriff's office not on the same page, concerned there will be violence. Ralph Sonny Barger founded the Oakland chapter of Hells Angels in 1957.
There's only one Sonny Barger. There was only one George Washington.
Regarded as a legend, Barger died this past summer from cancer. Now his funeral is set for Saturday in San Joaquin County.
It's going to be a celebration of life for Sonny Barger.
99 Speedway CEO Tony Nicetti was contacted by the Hells Angels and agreed to host the event. Now, nearly 20,000 members and friends of the Hells Angels are heading to Stockton. Nicetti tells us there will be at least 400 security guards on site. Security checks at the entrance gate and weapons and drugs will not be allowed. But that's not enough for local law enforcement who urged the businessman to cancel.
The 99 Speedway continued with their event planning and disregarded the input from all our law enforcement partners.
San Joaquin County Sheriff Patrick Withrow held a news conference Friday explaining the dangers to the community. Reading from the Department of Justice website, which identifies the Hells Angels as an outlaw motorcycle gang used as a conduit for criminal enterprises, including violent crime, weapons, and drug trafficking.
Guess who's coming to town? For this event, they had to strike a truce with their enemies, asking them not to come and create violence at the event in our county.
The sheriff concerned the truce won't last.
There are definitely going to be rival gangs in the area, and when those two mix, there's usually trouble.
San Joaquin County Sheriff says his deputies will not be present at the funeral, fearing for their safety, but will be patrolling the surrounding area throughout the event. The CEO here at 99 Speedway says the Hells Angels are no longer a violent group, though the sheriff brought up an incident recently where two members of the Hells Angels were arrested in San Joaquin County for allegedly beating a man to death. The sheriff's department is asking neighbors to steer clear of the area.
The man who killed local athlete Jacoby Ford has now been sentenced. Michael Lee will spend more than 25 years in prison. He pleaded guilty to Ford's murder back in August. Ford was shot and killed outside of Lucky's Bar in downtown Spokane in August of 2021. He was a local athlete who shattered records at Shadle Park High School and was launching a professional track career when he was murdered. Court records show Ford was dating Lee's ex-girlfriend at the time of the shooting.
Prosecutors here in Macomb County say this case is so complex they had to take their time before deciding to charge 3 juveniles as adults. They say many of the threats that led up to this even involve Snapchat.
Adult crimes being committed by children needs drastic measures and, more importantly, will be met with drastic measures.
Stern words from Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido, who just charged 3 teens as adults in the fatal stabbing that took the life of 14-year-old Trent Redstrom, seen here in a GoFundMe page posted to raise funds for his funeral. 2 others were injured in the Frazier attack, including a youth who suffered a collapsed lung.
Tragic, terrible, and unnecessary. And the only way you stop it is you got to be a little more tougher about what's going on here. Otherwise, no one's learning any lessons.
3 young people, a 16-year-old boy, a 15-year-old girl, and a 16-year-old girl, all facing life felony murder along with assault and home invasion charges in the September 13th incident where sources say the teens barged into a home near Garfield and Klein with masks and knives and waged their attack. A source says one of the teens involved in the incident appears to have acted in self-defense and is not charged, but the exact motive for it all remains unknown.
Only they can tell you what this was all about. Why they did what they did. What was it that drove them to a point of being involved with the most tragic crime one can commit? You know, when we all grew up back in the old days, as my kids say, you didn't see individuals stabbing each other. You didn't hear about guns being used. You know, it was your bare knuckles as a result of a fight that may have occurred. You went about your business the next day. Some days you made friendships and rekindled them. But this is terrible, what's happened here.
Detectives are digging through social media, including statements and threats allegedly made on Snapchat.
Yes, they talked about a ski mask. Yes, they talked about knives.
I'm glad that there are some charges. I'm glad that they have the students.
Janine Powers says her young cousin was friends with Trent and can't believe he's gone.
Absolutely devastated, actually. They're not doing so well, especially being, their age that they are. How do you handle something like that? I mean, even an adult, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you expect to happen.
The prosecutor says the teen suspects are being cooperative. They'll be back in court facing a judge once again on September 28th. And Mark Clemens, Dave Kinchin, Fox 2 News.
A man accused of breaking